A friendly hello to Americans, the American people. So you can see I'm wearing my patriotic American hat. Without further ado, I will dive into a few newspaper headlines from the past week or so. Today, February 2nd, 2014, lack of water has U.S. West fearing worst. Historic drought leads to drastic cutbacks. The article basically states that there are 17 rural communities with 40,000 people that are potentially going to completely run out of water within 60 to 120 days. No backup, no reserves, nothing, out of water. And there are another 25 million people who potentially face the same threat within the coming months. It is stated that this is the worst drought on record for 500 years. So, those are pretty frightening statistics. I think we should be taking them seriously, especially when we consider that most of our food, something like 60-75% of our produce, is grown in the central California Valley. January 30th, 2014, it's an icy crisis in Atlanta. It's a picture of Interstate 75, and essentially the article talks about this unseasonable snowfall down in Atlanta. I mean, any snowfall is unseasonable in Atlanta. Complete mess. Why? The infrastructure's not prepared for our changing climate. Climate change is real, and we're not ready for it. Okay, good. Moving forward. We are now all the way back to January 17th, 2014. UN says lag in confronting climate woes will be costly. Basically, the article goes on to say, the report goes on to say, that we have 15 years at most to completely turn around our carbon emissions if we want to preserve the livability of this planet. So when they say preserving a livable planet, they mean preserving a livable planet. If we don't change our ways in 15 years, no life on Earth in the near future. Okay, that's pretty severe. Good. And then finally, that takes me to Saturday, February 1st, 2014. Federal report removes hurdle for oil pipeline. Pollution is addressed. Impact statement hints Keystone could meet Obama's criteria. So if you don't know about the Keystone XL pipeline, it would bring us oil from the Alberta tar sands, which are probably the most environmentally destructive form of oil production to date, and one of the highest carbon emitters. If the American political system cares about the American people, then it should be looking out for our protection. We have a national security agency that is supposed to look for any incoming imminent threats to the American people. Meanwhile, we have 25 million people facing a potential complete cutoff of their water. Meanwhile, we have a crisis down in Atlanta. We've just come through 2 major hurricanes, tons of destruction, a huge mess. Our country does not need to worry about what's happening 2 oceans away. We need to worry about what's happening right here. And the biggest threat to the American people right here and right now is the state of our climate. And we are doing nothing, essentially nothing about it. The only thing we are doing is considering how we can get more oil more quickly and more securely, perhaps even more cheaply. That oil needs to stay in the ground if my generation, if our future is to be a livable one, okay? And I really would appreciate if someone in the White House would acknowledge that. It's a real thing. I mean, here I am speaking to a camera out alone in the middle of a field, and nobody in the entire political establishment can face the fact that my generation is going to inherit an unlivable planet. They're worrying about burning more oil, okay? So, this is just a little memo to the National Security Agency. Why don't you start reading the IPCC reports and wake up and learn what is actually threatening the people right now, right here at home? Because it's not the terrorists over in Islamic countries who are also, by the way, suffering from their own climate-related issues. What is threatening the American people is a lack of water. Huge droughts in our food-producing regions, crises all over the country. This is a heartfelt issue, and if we want to survive as a species, I mean, even if I want to just survive as an individual for the rest of my life, we need to start taking this seriously, and it's unacceptable. So dear power structure, dear oil companies who are lobbying the government to ignore climate change, to buy more oil, think about your children, if you have any, and try to find your heart. Okay. Sorry. I think America's a beautiful country, and we deserve better than this for our politics. It's a beautiful land. We deserve a beautiful and harmonious government, beautiful, harmonious people. And that's not what we have. It's not what we're about to get unless we stand up. So, props to those of you who are doing something.